Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. Today, I'll be doing something a bit different. I'll be reviewing the Mokwheel Obsidian 2.0. This is a fat tire, full suspension, all-terrain e-bike. This is actually the first time I've ever been up close and personal with an e-bike, and honestly, up until recently, I didn't know what it was all about. I just know they've gotten really popular in recent time. I see people posting about them left and right. I even have some friends with some now. So I was like, I just wanted to see what all the fuss was about. So I'd like to give a huge thanks and shout out before I get started to Mokwheel for sending over this example for me to try out. I'm really looking forward to sharing this whole experience with you guys. I'm going to kick things off with a thorough unboxing. I'll show you how it all goes together, and then of course I'll take it out and put it to the test. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Electric bicycles have become one of the fastest growing segments in personal transportation. What started as simple pedal assist commuter bikes has grown into a broad range of machines designed for everything from urban travel to trail riding. The Mokwheel Obsidian 2.0 falls squarely into the latter category. This is a large, full suspension, fat tire e-bike built for riders who want the comfort of real suspension, the traction of oversized tires, and the extra push of an electric drivetrain when distance, hills, or rough terrain start working against you. At first glance, the Obsidian 2.0 looks substantial. The aluminum frame is thick and heavily braced, the wheelbase is long, and the 26 by 4-inch fat tires give the bike a wide planted stance. It weighs about 77 pounds, which is obviously more than a conventional bicycle, but much of that comes from the parts that make the electric system possible. The motor, the battery, and the reinforced frame structure needed to support them. The frame uses a traditional step-over layout, which creates a strong central structure between the head tube, seat tube, and bottom bracket. That rigidity matters when you combine a powerful motor with off-road riding. The bike is also rated for a payload capacity of 560 pounds, which is a substantial figure for an e-bike, and one of the reasons the Obsidian feels like such a heavy-duty platform in the first place. For riders carrying gear, cargo, or just wanting a bike that feels overbuilt in a good way, that extra capacity is a real advantage. Before getting deeper into the Obsidian itself, it helps to explain what an electric bicycle actually is, especially for people who only know traditional bikes. At the end of the day, an e-bike is still a bicycle. You pedal it, shift gears, steer, and brake the same way you would on a normal bike. The difference is that it adds an electric motor and rechargeable battery that help the rider. Instead of doing all of the work yourself, the motor assists as you pedal. The easiest way to think of it is like riding with a steady tailwind. Most e-bikes, including the Obsidian 2.0, use pedal assist. Sensors detect your input and tell the motor how much help to provide. You can choose 5 different levels of assist depending on how much support you want. You can also turn the support off completely. The Obsidian uses a torque sensor, which means it measures how hard you're pushing on the pedals instead of just detecting pedal movement. That gives the bike a more natural feel. Rather than feeling like the motor is suddenly taken over, it feels more like your own effort is being amplified. It also has a thumb throttle, so the motor can move the bike without pedaling at all when needed. The point of an e-bike is not to remove pedaling, it's to reduce effort when it matters the most. Hills get easier, longer rides become more realistic, and riders can go further without being wiped out at the end of the trip. Once you understand that, the rest of the Obsidian's design starts to make more sense. The Obsidian 2.0 uses a rear hub motor rated at 1000 watts of continuous output, with peak output reaching about 1300 watts when the bike calls for extra power. Just as important is torque. The motor produces around 105 Newton meters, which gives the bike strong low-speed pulling power. That torque is what makes starting from a stop easy and helps the bike climb steep hills without feeling strained. Depending on configuration, the bike can operate as either a Class 2 or Class 3 e-bike. The throttle by itself can move the bike up to roughly 20 miles per hour, while pedal assist lets riders reach speeds close to 28 miles per hour when pedaling, which feels like you're absolutely flying. To complement the electric drivetrain, the Obsidian 2.0 uses a Shimano 10-speed transmission. That extra gear spread helps the bike feel more usable across a wider range of riding conditions, whether you're climbing slowly with high assist or cruising at speed on flatter surfaces. Powering the motor is a 48-volt lithium-ion battery rated at 19.6 amp-hours, which works out to roughly 940 watt-hours of capacity. That's a sizable battery for an e-bike, and it's a big part of why the Obsidian 2.0 claims a range in the neighborhood of 60 to 80 miles, depending on terrain, assist level, rider weight, and throttle use. While you can remove the battery to charge it, it's easier just to leave it into the chassis as there's a little charge port on the side. But what also sets the Obsidian apart is that Mokwheel ties it into a broader power system. With the right accessories, the battery can do more than just run the bike. The bike shown here uses the standard step-over frame, but Mokwheel also offers the Obsidian 2.0 ST, which stands for step-through. Mechanically, the two bikes are the same where it counts. Both use the same motor, battery, suspension, and core electronics. The difference is in the frame design. The step-through frame lowers the top tube, making it easier to get on and off the bike without swinging a leg over the saddle. For a lot of riders, that alone can be a deciding factor. The ST version makes a lot of sense for commuting, frequent stops, shorter riders, or anybody who simply wants easier access. If you're getting on and off the bike regularly or you don't want to deal with climbing over a tall frame every time, the step-through version is the more convenient choice. The trade-off is that the step-over frame generally offers slightly better rigidity, which can help when the riding gets rougher. So if your priority is trail use, uneven terrain, and giving the most solid feel out of the chassis, the full frame still has the edge. If your priority is access and day-to-day ease of use, the ST version is worth considering. The bike arrives mostly assembled in the box, with the frame, rear wheel, motor, drivetrain, wiring, brakes, and rear suspension already installed from the factory. So the remaining setup consists of installing the front wheel, securing the handlebars to the stem, threading on the pedals, making sure the left and right sides are installed correctly, and attaching the included accessories. Mokwheel includes a full set of tools in the box, so there's no need to buy anything separately to complete the job. And once everything is unpacked, the process is straightforward, with most of the work focused on finishing the front end and cockpit. With the bike's weight, definitely take care that it's balanced throughout the process. Honestly, the hardest part is flipping it over when prompted. Once assembled, you'll want to go through a full setup check by aligning the handlebars, tightening all fasteners, confirming the hydraulic brakes are centered and not rubbing, setting tire pressure based on your riding surface, adjusting saddle height, and fully charging the battery before riding. This is also where you'll dial in the suspension. The rear uses a D&M air shock that includes a lockout lever to switch between active suspension and a much firmer setting for smoother terrain or climbing, along with a red adjustment dial to fine-tune damping, which controls how the shock compresses and returns over bumps. The front fork features an ABS Plus compression adjustment dial on top of the fork leg that changes how firm the fork feels under load. Both the front fork and rear shock include rubber O-ring travel indicators, which let you see how much suspension travel you're actually using during a ride so you can dial things in properly. Once everything is set, the bike is ready to ride. One of the defining features of the Obsidian lineup is its full suspension design. Up front, the bike uses a suspension fork with about 130 millimeters of travel, which helps absorb impacts before they reach the bars. At the rear, an air shock helps manage bumps and trail chatter coming through the back wheel. That suspension works together with the 26 by 4 inch fat tires, which add cushioning of their own thanks to the large air volume. The result is a bike that handles gravel roads, potholes, broken pavement, and uneven trails far more comfortably than a rigid bicycle. It takes the edge off rough terrain in a way that fits the bike's size and purpose. It's very comfortable out on the road and shockingly smooth when off-road. There were even instances in the woods where some fallen small trees had crossed the path. I was actually able to use the electric assist to clear those obstacles without issue. Braking comes from Tektro hydraulic disc brakes with 180mm rotors. That's kind of the right setup for a bike like this. Hydraulic brakes give you stronger and more consistent stopping power than cable-operated systems. And on a bike this heavy with this much motor output, that matters. They work very well, smooth, and they bring the bike to a stop very quickly. The bike also has lighting. You've got a fixed mounted headlamp that's controlled by the little switch panel up on the handlebars. You've also got a rear LED light that straps to the seat pole. It has a variety of different lighting modes based on your personal preference. Of course, you've also got the previously mentioned thumb throttle and an updated removable display that shows speed, assist level, and battery status. The Obsidian 2.0 builds on the original bike rather than trying to replace it with something completely different. Both share the same general formula: a high torque hub motor, a large battery, full suspension, and fat tires aimed at mixed terrain riding. Where the 2.0 moves ahead is in its refinement. The drivetrain goes from 8 speeds to 10, the electronics are updated, and the suspension tuning has been revised. So the point of choosing the 2.0 isn't that it completely changes the bike, it just gives you a more sorted version of the same platform. On the road or trail, the Obsidian 2.0 feels stable and planted. The motor's torque makes acceleration easy, and the large battery gives the bike enough capacity to back up its long-range intent. The combination of suspension and fat tires does a good job of taking harshness out of rough surfaces, which makes the Obsidian especially well suited for gravel roads, dirt paths, mixed surface riding, and general exploring. Because of its size and weight, it's not the bike for tight technical single-track use, where you want something light and quick to react. But that's not really what this is built for. There's other options for that. This bike is more about comfort, range, traction, and covering ground. The Mokwheel Obsidian 2.0 takes the core idea behind the original Obsidian and improves it where it counts. It has the hardware to serve as a commuter, recreational bike, cargo-friendly platform, or trail explorer. Choosing between the step-over frame and the step-through ST comes down to how you plan to use it. The step-over bike makes the most sense if you want the most solid frame feel for rougher riding. The ST makes the most sense if ease of use matters more day to day. Either way, the Obsidian 2.0 is built around the same basic idea: making cycling easier, extending how far you can ride, and opening up terrain that might feel like too much work on a traditional bicycle. One of the stronger selling points of the Obsidian 2.0 is where it sits in the market from a value standpoint. It's currently listed for just under $2,200, and that pricing applies whether you choose the full-frame step-over bike or the step-through ST version. For what you're getting, a 1000 watt hub motor, a 940 watt hour battery, full suspension, fat tires, hydraulic disc brakes, and a 560 pound payload rating that puts it in a pretty competitive spot for a full suspension adventure style e-bike. Mokwheel also seems to run promotions and package deals fairly often, so it's worth paying attention to those before buying. For example, there are current offers where buying 2 e-bikes lets you choose either a hitch rack or a trailer, which can add a decent amount of value depending on how you plan to use them. Their current spring accessory specials also make the broader ecosystem a little more appealing. Right now, that includes items like a 26-inch studded winter tire set for $100, a Mokwheel hitch rack for $200, a battery for $200, and a 1000 watt inverter for $200. There are also bundle deals, including a battery plus inverter package for $350, along with a 230 watt solar panel, inverter, and battery package for $650. If you're buying into the idea of using the Obsidian as more than just a bike, especially part of Mokwheel's portable power angle, those packages could make more sense than buying pieces separately. On top of that, Mokwheel is also advertising free shipping, 15-day returns, and a 2-year warranty, which helps round out the ownership picture a bit. Well, everyone, that's going to wrap it up for the video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you'd like to learn more about the Mokwheel Obsidian 2.0, of course, I have a link down in the description box below. You can also check out all of the different bike offerings that Mokwheel offers. If you decide to pick one up, don't forget to use my exclusive discount code. It is KLS50. As always, thank you guys so much for your support. If you haven't subscribed already, consider doing that and make sure you turn those notifications on. I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.